Hi, Geoff Ballard here. I wanted to go through a few things with you today, mainly in the gearing department and just talking generally about sprockets as well. So this is a new bike I've picked up, and like a number of them, you know, they come with gearing that is set for a particular area and in a way a general setting. So depending if you live out in the desert or if you always ride tight stuff, there can be differences, and there can be, what you're basically looking for is something that suits your style of riding and your riding area. So for me, I generally ride a lot of tighter stuff, so I'm trying to be in third gear as much as possible instead of second. And sometimes you just find, this can be motocross as well, you might be on a track where you just go, man, I'm just not in the right gear, it's not pulling out of a corner right, so you might go to a one larger on the rear sprocket, or you might find you're just in the wrong gear too much in a second and you want to be third. So there's a number of situations depending on how it works and what you ride. But for me and this bike, I found the standard 50 tooth was a little bit wrong. I tried a 51 for a while and I liked it, but then I realised it's a powerful bike, so it felt more aggressive, a little bit harder to ride. So I ended up finding that if I went to a 48, so in other words taller gearing, I was in second in the right spot, and it just seemed to suit my riding area. So for not a lot of money, you can buy a few sprockets and get the right setup. The other thing that I found, and that whole too powerful, spread the gears out, you know, you're not changing gears too much is important on all bikes, but on a 450, you've obviously got more power and you can pull higher gears, you can clutch it a little bit out of a corner, you can do the same on 250s, but sometimes you want that extra boost in a 250, so that can influence it as well. But I've learned over the years and had some really good riders riding for me that a lot of the times these bikes work well in suspension as well if you get the rear axle as far back as possible. On this bike I really love it, and it works really well to have it back. So sometimes gearing can be influenced a little bit by that. You know, I would choose, you know, a different set of gearing, because you can go to instead of a 14 on the front, you can go to a 13, and then you've got all the combinations in the back. So juggling those, you can also get it so that you're towards the rear of the swing up, if you like that. You know, you lose a slight bit of traction when the axle comes back because the wheel's not under you. A trials bike is way forward, but this bike gets fantastic traction, so it's not an issue. There's more problems with it wheeling out of corners when you're not, you know, it gets you off balance and things like that. But with this bike, this works really well having it back. So that's had some influence as well on gearing. You know, some bikes come with what they call compliance gearing, and a lot of the KTMs and Yamahas will give you another sprocket or whatever. So anyway, just talk to other people who have them and you think is a good rider, or is, you know, fast guy or whatever, or somebody who rides in your area a lot, and pick the brains of some of the other guys. So anyway, you can get sprockets. You can get so many different varieties of sprockets, but obviously a lot of them are using really good alloys now, so that's good. There's differences between. Some of them have, you know, the mud cleaning grooves, which is if you ride a lot of mud or in an area that, you know, gets a lot of ruts with mud in it, you can really stretch the chain and everything if there's too much pressure there. So they're sometimes a good idea. Yeah, I've got a couple of old sprockets here that we found, and you know, you can see they get to the point, they start to curl, they really tax the chain a lot when they get to that point. But in a general sense, you'll go through at least 2 front sprockets to 1 rear. So I can't stress enough to invest in a front sprocket, which is pretty cheap, and keep it in your toolbox or wherever. So it's easy if you're going on a 2-day ride or something. Don't let the whole thing be spoilt by a sprocket that ends up like that. So, you know, it's just looking ahead a bit, but yeah, they wear incredibly quickly. They're often camouflaged a bit or hidden in behind a front sprocket cover. So before you go on a big ride, look, get organised, get a spare or two, and you know, you'll enjoy the whole experience a lot better if you can actually drive up the hills. So get out there and have fun, and just think about your gearing for a bit, and you'll probably find you can improve things and make the ride even better.